Hey YouTube, today we're going to put a radio system in the dump truck. Stick with me. Welcome to my life. Okay, today's mission is to put a stereo into the dump truck. When I've been riding back and forth on the dump truck, you're usually spending about an hour in there. I just recently put a CB in there, but I also would like to have a radio in there. And it wouldn't be bad if that radio would attach to my phone so I could do hands-free and all that. Currently there's an Alpine in there, which I'll show you in a second, but it's pretty worn out. I think it came out of somebody's car and then they put it in there or something. It's, you know. Anyway, one speaker works. It's right behind the driver. It is crackly and terrible. So I wanted to put something else in there. So I ended up with this JVC KW-V66BT. It's a double DIN unit. And the reason I wanted that, even though my dump truck is made for a single DIN, we'll have to cut a bar out and move that and re-weld it in. But I wanted it for the extra size because I wanted to screen that size because I also bought a camera. So when I back up now, I'll have a camera and I'll be able to see that hitch instead of getting in and out of the truck every time. And then I just bought some cheap speakers. They're Pyles. They're supposedly 400 watts. You know, they're probably really way less than that, but it doesn't matter. I'm hooking it to a head unit. I'm not putting it through an amp. I did buy the head unit that was big enough to grow if I decided to. It has preamp RCA jacks on the back side of it. So I can grow if I want to. And I did that specifically because I get tempted to do that, you know. Actually, I have a subwoofer and an amp sitting right there, but like in this car, I put this JVC head unit in there. And it also, it's a small screen, but it also has a reverse camera when you put it in reverse. There's a little camera installed there. And I do get tempted to grow them sometimes, you know. So it's got a little system in there, nothing big. Sorry for my mess there, my inline filters. I need to install those and whatever, but yeah, and I did get it out of the basement. The wife's car's sitting out in the rain, but I need to get it out and run it. You know, you got to run these things so they go bad, just like anything else if you don't get them out. So I'm glad to have that out. Anyway, so today's plan is to get this installed. Shouldn't be too terrible. Moving the bracket. I'll have to take out some of the door panels to cut the speakers in the doors. It's not really made for that, but we're gonna make some stuff. And then the back behind the seat, I'll pick those panels out where the current speakers are. I'll take those out and then I'll mount those in that same position probably. So that's the plan. So let's get busy. All right, let's get this moved over by the door so I don't have to walk so far. I don't want to work in wet grass anyway. Everybody's wondering why you leave it up. It's so the water can run out of the bed. Keep it from rusting somewhat. It'll rust no matter what. All right, you can see I've already took the trim ring out and the little glove box thing that goes there. And one of the plates here, just because I wanted to see, you know, it just goes like that. I wanted to see what was behind it. And to see how much room I had in there, I'm going to have to really measure. I may have to drop the radio down to here and just cap that one off because of clearance behind there. It's pretty dang close, but we'll have to see. I think I'm going to be tighter than this one, but we'll see. But yeah, I may end up coming down here. There's plenty of room in the lower 2 slots for it. There is a bar that comes here, so I don't know if that'll be in the way or not when you start getting the angle. We'll have to play around with it a little bit, see what we got, and then go from there. You can just pull that little trim ring on off. It probably has a tool that does this, but I'm sure there is a tool that does this. There she goes. She's off. Surprised it didn't break. And let me get the tools and I'll pull this radio out and then we'll go from there. All right, so basically when I mount the unit, you know, just depending on how it sits in there, it's probably going to sit from there back, I would guess. So I'm going to need at least 6 inches to clear 6 inches for sure, so those wires have room to bend down. So if I have 6 inches, I'm good. All right, so this is already coming out a little bit, but you can see probably fully seated somewhere right in there. There's not a lot of room, but I think the standard is 6 inches, so yeah, 6 is just barely making it, you know. So it looks like we have about 6.5 inches maybe. So I think it'll fit. Of course, it's pushing it down for some reason, so there is something above there that's not letting it go fully back. Well, let's take this radio out, and then I'm just going to kind of check around and see what's in there. I thought I was going to go to the bottom, but there's a tray in here, and it's straight. It's not leaning back, so it's going to hit that tray for sure if I put it down there, and I don't want to hit that tray. So I don't know. Let's play around with it a little bit and then see what we got here. This one maybe clip. Yeah, it's not even clipped anymore. It's just sitting in there. There we go. Should have maybe just a couple tabs bent. There's one. I don't know what he did here. Tabs. There's no one. A couple of those little dudes in there. I don't see any in the top. It acts like it's clipped in at the top. Oh, it must be there and there. Okay. Can I get up there? Yeah, well, not exactly, but I got it around it. All right. Straighten that back out. So we'll store this for somebody if they want it in their car or something. Need a junk radio. All right, so I got the bracket going. I got the stereo out. Looks like I kept it together because I just wanted to know, you know, which speakers were which speakers. You did have a power remote antenna, and that's not a power antenna, so I'm not sure what's going on with that line. I'll have to figure that out, where he's got that going. And then he's got they have the power on all full time. They don't have it through the accessory, and I definitely want it through the accessory because the last thing you want is to have that radio on draining that battery, so forget it or something and not turn it off. So I'll definitely find an accessory line and run that to there. But other than that, I mean, he did a pretty clean job. I mean, it's not high power, so these clips are good enough. If it was high power, they wouldn't be, but they're fine. So yeah, other than the power antenna going to something that I don't understand because it's just a regular old antenna. Outside of that, everything looks clean. All right, let me get the Dremel and we'll start cutting on this bar right here. I'm going to use the Dremel because it makes such a more, you know, a skinnier cut than my grinder. My grinder would be fast, it'd be like dip dip, but it'd be that get wide of a gap. I want it nice and tight because I'm going to tack that in where it's needed down here, just for support for the bottom of the radio. All right, so that's kind of the plan. Let me get on it. All right, well, it's good to get the old Dremel tool back out. I haven't used this thing in a long time. It's old. It was a Model 395. Somebody probably knows the differences on that. I used to use it all the time, but my projects kind of outgrew it, and I've been doing a lot of bigger metal bigger stuff, but it's good to still have this old tool to do these jobs when they come around. All right, so you can kind of see my gap down here. And I'm just going to tack that in right behind that gap. So I need to get something to mark these lines so they're perfect. And then I'll just tack that in, because what I don't want is a gap, you know? All right, let's get that thing in there tight. And it needs to go right up against this. All right, so the object then would be to come in and tack this in here at that height. So really not a lot. So I need to get some vice grips or clamps or something to hold it. And then I'm just gonna go tap, tap with the welder. I'm not even trying to do much. I'm just trying to tap it on there, right? Top clips, yeah. Yep, so basically I just want a clamper and tack it in there. That's all we're gonna do. Now it is gonna be a little further behind, obviously, than this piece. It won't be flush. I mean, I guess I could crack it, but I don't want to. But it's just to fill that gap on there and hold the bottom of that thing from sliding down the bracket. All right, let me get on that. All right, that'll work right there. You know, that's solid enough to hold the radio. It ain't going nowhere. May have to trim. I may have to grind that down just a tad. It popped out on me a little bit, but I think it looks good. You won't even see it with the bracket in there. It just fills that space and gives that bracket something to sit on. Hey, one thing, my wife got me this cobalt helmet, but it is one of the see-through, so you can see through it, and then as soon as it starts welding, it darkens, right? So it's an auto darken. And I tell you, this thing has changed the way I do business. It actually makes me safe. With the old mask, I couldn't see where I was. I couldn't line up. Then I'd put the mask down. Then I'd be moved. And so what I ended up doing was I'd line myself up, and then I'd close my eyes, right, and spark it. And of course, that's always dangerous because you're trying to see in the flash and then close your eyes at the same time. It's not good for you. But this definitely changed out. So if you're thinking about, if you do welding a little bit, you know, like me, a little hobby stuff, and you're thinking about spending $100 and whatever on the helmet that auto darkens, definitely do it. It'll make you safe. It'll help you help yourself. All right. All right, so we got the bracket in there. It's going to hold just fine. So just make sure this is cool enough. I'll let it cool down just a little bit more. I'll wipe all this down too. I need to clean it up. But then we'll see if the radio fits in there. See if we have any clearance issues here, back on the back here. This little tab it's not really doing anything. it may end up getting cut off, just so that the radio has just that much more. It's quite a bit actually, more room. All right, so yeah, we're definitely not gonna go past that, but that may just push. I just don't want it hurting the wires on the back side of the radio, you know? So we'll probably end up cutting it off. It gives us an extra, it's probably about a 1/2 inch. All right, well, let's try that out first and see how she does. Oh, man. I should probably bend a couple tabs so she stays in there too before I do that, just in case it locks, and then I won't be able to pull it out. This one's a little different on the bottom here because it's a little thicker. I don't know if you guys have ever done radios before, but it has these little brakes all the way around. And basically the one that lines up with your dash, you push it back and it locks the frame to the dash. And usually, like this one's angled, the more I push it in, the tighter it'll pull to the frame. So a pretty neat little system they have. It pretty much makes it fit in any car. So, man, that's solid. I like it. That's going to take a lot of dump truck bumping. So this is what I'm really worried about here. And I think it's pretty far off to the side there. It's got this handy dandy USB port that I'll have to cut in somewhere so that it can come out and I can hook my iPhone to it. Oh, you know what? I bet you I can just drop it. Drop it like it's hot. I bet you I can drop it right under here. Look at that. Look at that. Would you look at that? That'll be nice. And then the rest of this stuff, antenna on. I'm not really trying to hook everything up right now. I'm just trying to fit. Test fitter. It's funny, it's loose in that sleeve. You'd think it'd be tight in that sleeve. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna have plenty of room. I mean, that's perfect. So she fits in there nice. She locks in just fine. I thought I was missing some brackets, but I'm not. She locks right into here. So it's good. So now I just got to get her wired up. Got to get her wired up. Got to redo this too. I don't like that. And I mean, there's a couple things, but no big deal. We will definitely get her. All right, so the back here already has speakers in it, and we'll probably put those right over there where they are. I think that's a good place for them to kind of have a alcove, and hopefully there's enough space in there for them to fit. If not, they'll stick out just a little bit, but that's okay. I think there's a ring with them. I'll have to check, but I think there's enough room. There's a speaker there, so we'll put those right there. They're already wired for low end speakers like I'm putting in. We are gonna have to put wires into the doors, so I'm planning on putting speakers here. I have to build a little foam piece to block this off so nothing stabs the back of the speaker. But other than that, I think this is a good place for a speaker right there. So we'll cut that out. I think I'll have to cut it out behind it too, but we'll pull this pocket off and then we gotta pull the door. They already have rubber places for the wires to go through. So I just need to drill a hole, shove the wires through, pull them through, get them up to the dash and in there, and then do the same thing for the other side. So let's get this pocket off and start that process. There are some serious bolts. Yeah, that's all of them, I guess. What we got going on? What's holding you on there, buddy? Find some clips somewhere. Yeah, look like some pools. Ooh, that's garbage. Good thing hadn't been open in a while. I always hate these. I think I'm gonna break them. But she came off clean. Boy, there's a lot of junk in there. Some old receipts. I love trucks, man. You ain't messing with some small screws on here. There you go. Cool. So there's a hole where you could put the back of the magnet if we had to. If it goes that deep, which it probably does. I mean, it's not, these aren't very deep, but probably would go in there. So we need to kind of line it up with that, huh? So there's not a lot of room in there. I mean, there's really not a lot of room where that can be. So that pocket's like right there, which is really where I thought I was going to put the shaker. Just kind of, I'm gonna have to stick the template on here, and then I'm gonna have to measure and just kind of figure out if that's where it can be or not. All right, so here's my little cutout. So I'm gonna measure to the hole is roughly 2.5 inches. Then the top of that is upwards of here. So 8 is the top of the hole. All right, so kind of what I'm figuring is we got this pretty much approximately where it should go. So if I drill this in the center of that, and then I can feel with my finger where we are on that metal up in there, and then I can adjust it accordingly without ruining it. If I cut it this size right away and it's wrong, I'm in trouble. So I'm just gonna cut a hole in there. I can put my finger in there, and I can reach around and feel that metal and see exactly where we are inside that door when this panel's up on there. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Yeah, so it's really good we did that. Just so we can, because we were off. I mean, I was like up and over a little bit, you can tell. So that wasn't centered at all. So that's really where it needs to go based off of where I can feel that metal, where the edges of the metal are. And this will definitely give us enough room around there for the back of the magnet to go in that door. So we'll go ahead and cut this out, I think, and we'll run our wire. I actually decided to use my drywall cutter. We'll see if this works for that. I mean, it's plastic, it should. I don't know if it'll get through both layers. I don't know, it should, we'll see. I don't know how it's gonna react to it. Just gotta be careful with it. Put my glasses on so I don't a little rough. May have to sand it down a little bit, but see how the thing fits in there. I'll let that all in the speaker. All right, so not perfect. We gotta go a little deeper where we're hitting. Still not quite. All right, I think I finally got it sanded down enough that she fits in there nice. I just need to run the wires, then we'll mount her. So now I just got to get a wire through here and through here, and I'll probably just pop those out, drill a hole in them, put them back in. Nice if I could just puncture them. I don't know if I can or not. I could probably run a drill. Oh yeah, they puncture pretty easy. So I could probably just run a little. I'll be careful with the drill bit because I don't want to. Yeah, that put a hole in there good enough. Same with this side. Yeah. All right, so now we're making a place for the tweeter. Put it right there. It actually says it could surface mount, but there's not the pieces for it to surface mount. It's kind of weird. Anyway, it'd be better that it's in there anyway. But so we're going to drill that out with my 2-inch saw and put it right there. Perfect. Let's get this straight because once she's in, I guess. Woo. All right, so she's in. All right, so that's pretty easy with the tweeter there. Tweedledee-doodle-dum. Tweeter, mids. You're supposed to mount that somewhere, but I'm just going to stick it with double-sided tape to the back of here, just so it's out of the way. I think it'll fit right there. Anyway, I should have done that first, I suppose. Yeah, it'll fit right there. So I'll double-sided tape that right on there. Use a little Velcro. Oh, if I decide to take them out, it won't be that tough. Make sure she's hanging right. I think I gotta do 2 and then we'll come back and do the other one. Try that out for size, see what happens. Then we'll drill in the floor for the cover. pull these wires to the front. And we'll start the back ones. I think we'll wire that all together, put that in, and then I think we'll work on the back ones after that. So here's what I've done. I've put the camera, just mocked it up here. I haven't actually bolted it. It actually bolts on the back side of the license plate, so it'll sit somewhere right here. Then you'll just aim it with that clip. I ran the wire here and then just kind of run it down the wiring harness. Just kind of doing a test to see if that cable's gonna be long enough to even get to the front of this, or if I'm gonna have to get another jack, and also where I'm gonna get it up into the firewall. I don't know where. There's probably a hole in there somewhere, I'm sure. But I'm gonna have to figure that out. So I'm just kind of running this down. I'm trying to get it mocked into place. Going through the deals, and I have to come back and zip tie them all to the cables and all that stuff and whatever. But I'm just trying to get it to the front to see where I'm gonna be at. So that's what I'm doing now. Alright, YouTube, so what I'm thinking is, instead of chopping in the wiring harness, which I don't really want to do out there, it's really pretty thick wire too. I think I want to open this up and see if there's not a way that I can connect those inside this box, and then I could run the wire, little hole in the back, run the wire in, and then caulk that off so it wouldn't be getting moisture anywhere. I think that'd be a better way than, I don't want to tap in these wires that are out here. So let me see what I figure out with that. Well, she turns on anyway. I don't have the trim rings on and all that stuff yet. I still want to clean this up real good before I do that, but she does work, it looks like. Language. All right, so the temperature is like really cool today, so I don't want to be doing resin, so I kind of almost too cold for that, but it's not too cold to work. So I've had this sub sitting around forever, and I thought, well, I got a sub and I got a little amp. It's only a 300 watt amp. It's a pretty compact little guy, but I have that and I have a sub, and it's been sitting around for years. So I thought, you know, let me throw a sub box together and put this in the dump truck. At least to be getting used, right? I'm not going to do this the typical way. The typical way would be to build it out of 3/4 inch MDF. I'm going to build it out of wood that I have. Wood's so expensive right now, and it's going to go in a dump truck. And as long as it puts out a little base, it doesn't really matter to me. So I'm going to use this for the sides, and then I'm going to use a 3/4 inch. I got it in the truck. A 3/4 inch board plywood for the top and the bottom, and that'll do just fine. So yeah, I figured I'll just do that up, and I don't even know if I have the right cables to hook up the amp and all that stuff, but we'll figure that out. Right now, the plan is just to kind of put it together and I don't know, go from there. All right, let's do this. she's mounted in there. Has the wire coming out, which I'll still need to cock that off, but I'm not sure where I'm gonna put the amp yet, so I just left the wire long. If you were doing a professional though, you wouldn't want that hole in the box. You'd want a clamp where you hook the wires to the inside, the clamp comes out the outside, you hook the wires to the outside. But again, this is going in a dump truck underneath the seat, so it doesn't really matter. Good enough. All right, so I got it in there. It's sitting up behind the seat perfectly, and I didn't video much of it, but I got the amp in there. I'll actually put it just right in here. It's a little amp that I had, but I really need a bigger one if I'm gonna, you know, be listening to it or whatever. But you know, hey, it's a dump truck, so. And I'll give you an example. Not a whole lot of bass coming out of it because that little amp, but it's what I had around the house. I wanted to do it perfectly free. I mean, I didn't want to spend any money at all, and I didn't. So I got it in there, a little amp on there, and. Welcome to my life. All right, YouTube. So I have no idea really what I'm getting into today. I do know that I'm going. So that gives you a little example of the bass that I got. It's not much, but I mean, hey, it's something, and it's a dump truck. So hey, I appreciate you joining me on this episode. Again, sorry for not filming that amp. It just there's too little space and time's running out, and wife's cooking dinner and yada yada yada. So I just wanted to get it done. But yeah, that's a cool little project. Yep. All right. See you next week. Hey YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe.